Is this going to be a country that I don't recognize in 5 to 10 years if we don't have these two pillars? If we don't, I mean, where are the Democrats going with this? If Mamdani is the face of the Democrats on the East Coast and Katie Porter is the face on the West Coast, I don't know if that's great politically for that party.
It finally happened. The Socialists aren't just influencing the Democratic Party anymore. They're running it. Zohran Mamdani's election as New York's mayor just sent shockwaves through American politics. This isn't just another blue state victory. It's a full-blown ideological shift. Even the DNC's top brass seemed to be nodding along with his radical socialist agenda. And that's exactly why Bill Maher, never one to stay silent, stepped in swinging. On his show, he tore into the Democrats' new direction, exposing where the party lost its compass and how it might just be able to pull itself back from the brink. Buckle up. This one's going to sting.
The guy he just brought up, that's who you're all going to have to answer for. So I got to get your answer. This is Mamdani, if you've been not following the news. He won the Democratic primary in New York, so he is certainly likely to be the next mayor. We don't know. I mean, there's a lot of opposition because we've never had someone this radical. Some of the things he says, prisons were obsolete. What purpose do they serve? I can think of a couple. The NYPD is racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety. I think most people think cops are protecting their public safety, even though there's issues and problems with the police department. Do you like capitalism? No. We've never had a guy quite like this. You know, he quotes Marxist, each according to their need. I mean, that's straight up communism. Whether you call it the abolition of private property, you call it housing guarantees, it's preferable to what is going on right now.
Maher called it months ago, long before the ballots were even counted. He warned that if the Democrats kept flirting with far-left ideology, it'd come back to bite them hard. Now, with Mamdani's rise, that warning is looking prophetic. This isn't the first time Maher's instincts were dead on either. Remember when he warned against Kamala Harris as a presidential pick? The DNC ignored him and walked straight into one of the most humiliating defeats in modern American history. Maher doesn't predict doom for fun. He just sees patterns others refuse to acknowledge. And if his record means anything, Mamdani's victory might be the next chapter in the DNC's slow-motion collapse.
I mean, just the phrase abolition of private property, not something we usually hear in America.
There's always a villain. There's always, people, they always try to create a villain, is my point. They always try to create some boogeyman or boogie. No. If it wasn't this one, quotes. It was going to be somebody else.
I'm not creating anything. I'm
not defending the policies. There are plenty of things that I disagree with there and that I don't come down on.
You're going to have to answer everything like this. They're going to ask every single Democratic politician.
But the point being, we see this every cycle. I've now been doing this long enough to know that every single cycle, there's some contrived villain or boogeyman.
You could see it all over Maher's face. Disbelief, irritation, that I told you so look. He wasn't demonizing Mamdani for being a socialist. He was exposing how the man's own words tell the story. Nobody needs to smear Mamdani. His ideology does that on its own. When a politician openly promotes ideas that undermine the foundations of American capitalism, people notice. Maher's just holding up the mirror, and what's reflected isn't flattering. If Mamdani ends up looking like the boogeyman of the left, well, that's entirely his own doing.
And if it wasn't this
one, he's not contrived. He's going to be the mayor of New York.
The thing that I find the most appalling, which is that he defends the expression globalize the Intifada.
Yes, correct.
Which explicitly means, and I don't want to hear anyone deny this, everything that the crazy far right alleged about Barack Obama, wasn't born in America, right. Islamist, socialist, right. Anti-Semite, hates America, it's all true about this guy. Right. Okay? It is all true about this guy. And the fact that this man is on the verge of becoming the mayor of the second largest Jewish city in the world is very frightening. And I'm actually really disappointed that more Democrats have either, are not coming out and condemning him and saying we're not going to endorse this guy because he is beyond the pale.
Maher saw this coming a mile away. The hype, the media love, the progressive wave, all signs pointed to a Mamdani win. But Maher's real concern wasn't the victory itself. It was what it meant for the future of the Democratic Party. He's not defending capitalism because it's flawless. He's defending it because it works. Socialism sounds noble until the bills come due. When jobs vanish, innovation dies, and the government owns everything that used to belong to you. Maher knows this isn't progress. It's regression disguised as compassion. If the DNC doesn't course correct soon, they might not recover at all.
It seems to me that there are two pillars that this country is founded on. One is democracy, and one is capitalism, free markets. And it seems like one party wants to get rid of one, and the other party wants to get rid of the other. Right? The Republicans are not that, democracy is just not number one on their list. It just isn't. It isn't. It's behind Christianity and a few other things. And the Democrats, I mean, I read these, 74% are for democratic socialism. Only 16% favor capitalism.
And that's how someone like Mamdani, a man quoting Marx and embracing full-blown socialism, climbed to the top of the DNC ticket. The Democrats aren't flirting with socialism anymore. They've married it. What was once a party of moderates and reformists has turned into a movement obsessed with redistribution and control. It's no longer about fixing the system. It's about replacing it entirely. The old guard can pretend everything's fine, but the tide has already turned. The winds of ideological revolution are blowing, and Mamdani's victory is just the first gust of a storm that could redefine or even destroy the Democratic Party as we know it.
Is this going to be a country that I don't recognize in 5 to 10 years if we don't have these two pillars? If we don't, I mean, where are the Democrats going with this? If Mamdani is the face of the Democrats on the East Coast and Katie Porter is the face on the West Coast, I don't know if that's great politically for that party.
This isn't just bad politics, it's dangerous for the country. With Mamdani on the East Coast and Katie Porter rising out west, the Democrats are drifting into waters they don't know how to navigate. America works when both parties balance each other, when ideas compete instead of collapse into ideology. But right now, the DNC is abandoning freedom for slogans, pragmatism for purity, and balance for blind activism. If this continues, it won't just cripple the Democrats. It'll destabilize the entire political equilibrium that keeps American democracy alive.
New York is New York. It's definitely it's the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Do you think, let's say, on the seize the means of production, do you think that the mayor, that one person, if he is a democratic socialist, do you think that he would have the power and influence to be able to, usher in socialism?
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time.
Mayors convinced Mamdani's win just handed the GOP their next national election, and he might be right. Middle America isn't buying the socialist experiment. Our working-class families, who understand the value of hard work, opportunity, and free enterprise. They know socialism sounds compassionate in speeches, but destroys lives in practice. Higher taxes, fewer jobs, no incentive to build or innovate. So, if the DNC keeps doubling down on figures like Mamdani, they're basically gift-wrapping 2028 for the Republicans. Mayer's not fear-mongering, he's forecasting, and history tends to back him up.
It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
I think the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrats, socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela, just bad ideas. And again, this ugly streak, streak of anti-Semitism.
Remember when Maher warned that nominating Kamala Harris would be a political gift to Donald Trump? He was mocked then, but proven right. Now he's sounding the alarm again, and this time the stakes are even higher. Maher believes Mamdani's rise could trigger a Republican landslide in 2028. And once again, no one's listening. He understands voter psychology better than most pundits. Americans reject extremes, whether from the left or right. Ignoring his warning twice would be pure.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's, Bernie is,
Bernie, yeah.
Bernie is, I mean, he's not a capitalist,
No, he's not. And he's also not president.
But
never would be.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, but trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
But they're going to feature people, they boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom. Yeah, but they make anybody into boogeyman. I think it was
just have more weight when it's real. I mean, when you can really.
The names being thrown around, Pelosi, Newsom, AOC, didn't become symbols of hypocrisy by accident. Pelosi's insider stock trades, Newsom's California collapse, AOC's social media theatrics, they've all fed the perception that the modern left is detached from reality. Maher's not inventing these criticisms. He's just connecting the dots. When leaders prioritize image over results, or ideology over reason, they hand the opposition all the ammo they need. Accountability isn't demonization, it's democracy. And Maher's simply saying what millions are already thinking.
This must be horrible for a guy like you, who you spent your whole life talking about how government tries to do too much, which it does, and spends too much. And here you have Trump, who is the Republican, who is aggrandizing more power than anybody, as we just talked about. And on the other side, you have the guy running in New York, Mamdani, right? Okay, who's like a straight-up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so.
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can crack it up again. Socialist slogan used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess.
Even many self-described socialists quietly admit their dream doesn't work. They just keep rebranding it. Now, it's not socialism, it's equity and economic fairness. But new labels can't hide old failures. Every nation that's embraced full socialism has ended in economic collapse and state control. Meanwhile, capitalism, flawed but functional, keeps lifting people out of poverty and fueling innovation. Maher's message is clear. Ideology doesn't feed families. Results do. The DNC can still find its footing, but only if it rediscovers what built America's strength: freedom, opportunity, and reality over rhetoric. At the end of the day, this isn't just about one politician or one election. It's about the future of an entire party, and maybe even the country. Bill Maher isn't waving a partisan flag. He's sounding a wake-up call. Because when common sense becomes controversial, and when moderation gets labeled as betrayal, that's when democracy starts to crack. The Democrats can still turn things around, but only if they start listening to voices like Maher, who dare to tell uncomfortable truths. The question now is simple. Will they learn from history or repeat it once again? If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. This is about keeping the conversation real, unfiltered, honest, and fact-driven. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.